Yeah, we tried to move Allenby's being antisocial.
Good evening. This is the Greater Southeast Area Commission's monthly meeting, and I call the meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. on June 24th. Roll call, please.
Angela Barnes, Chair.
Present.
Mark Harper,
Here.
Vice Chair. Me here. Victoria.
Present.
Mark. Why do I have on here twice? And we got Commissioner Bunting.
Here.
Am I missing anybody?
Sheila.
Sheila, is she here? Sheila? Sheila's not here. That's everyone.
Thank you. If we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone to our meeting, and hope you have been trying to stay cool. It's been very, very hot out there. First thing on our agenda is acknowledgments, and we have James Lewis, who is the Community Relations Coordinator for zoning code updates. He is here to give us an update for zoning for, I believe our area is now being rezoned or giving the zoning code. Ready?
Yes. So actually, my name is Louis Taba. James Lewis is he set up the meeting. So
I'm sorry. What is your name?
Louis Taba. T-E-B-A.
Oh, okay. I got the names.
No, that's fine.
T-A-B-A.
T-E-B-A.
T-E-B-A.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the zoning project manager. How many of you were involved with phase one of zoning to some degree? You remember Kevin Wheeler? Well, he retired. And so now I have this position. I'm leading the zoning project. So someone probably came and spoke to you in the spring, I imagine. Maybe in like April or May. Might have been James Lewis at that point, or Tony Celebrezzi or Festus. But they would have come in here and given you a brief description of the work we were doing to some degree for phase two related to commercial, institutional, and manufacturing. No?
No, we didn't get an update on that. We was invited to a public meeting, I believe, that was going on for the north end, similar, but we didn't have anything for our own.
Okay, that's okay. I'm sorry to hear about that. Okay, well, so I'm here to discuss the work of zoning. Your chair was recently; she's a member of our zoning advisory committee, and where we've been giving updates on the work we're doing. Phase one was primarily along the corridors. They focused on properties facing the corridors that had a recommended land use of mixed use. Phase one was a huge success. They rezoned 12,300 parcels in the city and 140 miles of corridor, which sounds like a lot, but in the end, it's really only 4.2% of the city, which means we have a lot left to go. And so for phase two, what we're thinking about, the current work that we're working on, we're looking at, we have to review the zoning for the whole city. And so how do we start taking bites out of that apple? And phase one was about creating additional housing on the corridor. And because the city has a housing affordability issue right now, citywide, prices have gone up a lot on houses. There's a lack of supply on houses. Younger people are having trouble buying and getting into the housing market. It was easy for me back in 2009. Some people who bought it in the 90s and the 80s, but now things have gotten pretty tight. Housing. So the other part of that, of housing affordability, is making sure that people have access to stable wages and jobs. Right? And when we're thinking about that, we start looking at the zoning code, and we decided to look at commercial, manufacturing, and office uses in the city. The zoning code that we have related to those uses is dated, just like it's dated for the housing. Well, so it's dated, it doesn't respond to the modern economy, It deals with things such as cabarets, basket weaving, hamper making, but it doesn't deal with things of the modern economy such as data centers or modern stored warehouses and industrial. So that's what this phase is. This phase is called Economic and Housing Opportunity. And what we did is we looked at all of the mixed use. We looked at the city and we thought about what would fit in for achieving these kinds of goals for what we're going for right now. So, as I said, economic and housing opportunity, and we are putting parcels into different buckets. We're looking at what could be mixed use, what could be industrial warehouse, and what could be business and institutional campuses. So we looked at all the commercial zone properties in the city. We looked at all of the manufacturing zone properties in the city. We looked at all the office zone properties in the city and institutional. And then we looked at some apartment residential. And then we looked at each part, we looked at parcel by parcel, we looked at the whole city, we've been doing it since January, and determining, does this fit into one of these three big buckets of mixed use, industrial and warehouse, or business and institutional? So we've made a lot of progress. We have a couple of maps that we're looking for community feedback on. We have our priorities for this phase, and we have land use designations that we want to engage the community on before we move forward. This isn't zoning. We're not rezoning your community. We're not doing anything with zoning right now. Right now, we're just talking about land use. What areas of the city does the community feel is appropriate for mixed use? And the uses that come in with that. We're not doing zoning. The zoning we're going to be doing in 2026. Okay, so right now we're just talking policy. So what I'm here to promote is just give you an update on the calendar. We're going to have a mayoral press conference on June 26th at 11 a.m. where we will be doing kind of the launch of this phase of work.
What was that date again?
June 26th. 11 a.m. Thursday.
Where is it?
It's going to be at Grandview Crossing. Grandview Crossing, which is near downtown. It's a mixed-use development that has office, retail. Has anybody been there? Yeah. They've got a food hall.
Is that near York? There's a.
It's by the county engineer.
Yeah.
Is it near that restaurant that they always use for parties and events?
No.
It's on the west side, kind of south of Grandview, and it's off Riverside Drive.
Okay, kind of on the north side of the street.
Yes, that's right. And it's a good example of what future mixed use could be. How do we have?
Does it have like a big food court inside of it?
It does.
Okay. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, but okay, that's the little grand food court.
Yeah, a lot of Ohio State students used it for their Ohio State parties when they graduated from college. They had a lot of events there.
Okay. All right. Were you up for those parties?
My nephew graduated.
Yeah.
Inquiring minds.
Yeah, I was driving 20. That's what I meant.
It made me
So there's that. So we're going to have this. So that's going to launch publicly this phase of work. Then we're going to be going to council for a resolution of support on June 30th to start this work. Now, after the mayor's press conference on June 26th, our website will be live. And you'll be able to get all the information you want about this phase on the website. So we will have information, the priorities, strategies, what we're looking at, talking more in depth about mixed use and other categories I discussed. After we get our council resolution for support, our survey will be live. In phase one, there was a survey that you could take. It was a map survey. You could click on each of the individual parcels or groups of parcels in certain areas of the city and provide your feedback of whether or not you felt that was the appropriate district in those areas. Thought it was too high or too short, building setback. Here we're talking about land uses, so it won't be so detailed, but you will be able to click on parcels and provide your feedback on if you think it's the appropriate land use. Do I think this should be mixed? Do I think this should be industrial warehouse? is this old industrial warehouse that should now be mixed use or should be residential? You'll be able to provide all that feedback. And then I'm here to invite you as well to, we're going to be having 4 map workshops. Andy, grab one and hand you out. We're going to have 4 map workshops in the month of July. We tried to spread them out as much as we could based off of availability in schools. We also were looking at areas of the city that we did not get engagement on in the first round. We tried to go out as far east as we could, but unfortunately there were some issues with the schools and whatnot. So the one that is going to be closer to you, I believe is July 30th. What school is that? I don't have it. East High School? Okay. So we invite you to come to that one. That's going to be July 30th, but you're also invited to come to any of the other. So it'll be the same workshop, but we'll have it July 9th, July 16th, July 23rd, and July 30th. The reason I'm here now in June is we wanted to visit your commission early because we're going to come later on and present all the materials to you. We have a what's next document, we have maps, we have the priorities that we want to share with you and begin to get your feedback. Since you meet so late in the month, we didn't want to wait till the end of July to inform you about all this. We wanted to come early.
Is it possible, instead of doing it at commission meeting, that we could coordinate with the Eastside Coalition and maybe get the community center on Kimberly Parkway or Barnett Rec Center gym or something and bring together the Far East, the Greater Southeast, and the MAC together with those 3 communities to do something like that, rather, because it was more effective it seemed more effective when they did it that way for getting the Eastland plan, producing the Eastland plan, because as you can see, there's not a lot of community members here, but something like that, and you can get all the community members, and you can put it out to those 3 community areas, I think would be more effective.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did forget to hand these out. Grab one. Absolutely. But this is the zoning code. That's a great idea. It's something we can definitely look into. We're going to have to look at our schedule to see when we can make that happen. How many people would you anticipate being?
I don't know, at least 30 or 40, and it showed up for a lot of those meetings.
Is that right?
And they were usually at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, maybe an hour and a half. And they were also communicated to each one of the commissions to get the information out to their communities. And also, I think there was maybe even some emails and mailers, because over the time they started collecting emails where they could actually send the same people emails who were participating in those surveys.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, I'll give you my cards. We can coordinate on that. It'll depend on our schedule when we have availability and staff. So that's my card. You can write to me directly.
I also got August 5th from 5 to 9. I'm doing a National Night Out event down here in Lindsay, Honda. And you can set up there. And we have between 300 and 500 usually show up for that event.
What is that event?
National Night
Out. It's August 5th.
Okay.
From 5 to 9. Just, I'll give you my phone number. It's.
Don't put
Well,
it. Give it to her later.
You don't want to do it on this.
I mean, give it to him later.
Yeah,
there's also our what's the name of that thing that they have at the park?
Rise Up.
Rise Up CBUS at NASCAR Park is another way for you to get information out to the community. That's going to be coming up here
July 10th.
July 10th.
We may be at that one, but I'll look it up. We are going to move to the Rise Up events. We are going to be doing pop-up engagement events at some of these community events, so I've written those 2 down. I don't know about the National Night Out. We might have that on our calendar as well. And Rise Up, you said July 10th?
Mm-hmm. That's at NASCAR Park. That's a good way of getting emails and contact information from people in the community.
Absolutely. And when we go to these events, we're going to have maps. We're going to be having tablets so people can take the survey. we're going to do as much community engagement, get as much community feedback as we can. Thank you. Now, as for that larger event, yeah, we can coordinate that, so let me know and we'll see what we can do. We are going to be going to each of the other area commissions, but it makes more sense to have them all together. Okay, so I'm just inviting you to the workshops. I don't want to take too much of your time, but the survey, like I said, we'll have a survey on the back of that card I gave you is a QR code that takes you to the website. The website's just going to have old information from phase 1 right now, but like I said, on Thursday it'll be live with new information. And then, like I said, we're going to do workshops throughout the summer. Those 4, we're going to do walking tours, we're going to do pop-up events, community and festival events. And then on the website, and it's not there now, but on the bottom there'll be a calendar that has all of our community engagement events. Just check that calendar to stay engaged with us, and we look forward to seeing you at any of those events that you want to come out with. Speak to us, and hopefully we're going to do as much promotion as we can on social media. We're going to do boosting the posts because we really want to get the community's feedback on this. This level of engagement wasn't done in the first phase. We want to get in there early and just get the ideas on the Andrews policy. And with that, do you have any further questions?
I think it's important just getting the information out because I run into people. My car, I went to the shop and I took a lift and I was talking to the person who was driving about different things in the community and they absolutely had no idea what was going on with like Eastland Plan. I'm like, well, you have to be sleeping under a rock to not know, but the community, that's something consistent with not just that person that I hear in the area I represent is I didn't know about that. So whenever, City of Columbus says, oh, we put out a survey and we're like, well, who did you survey? Because talking to the majority of the people, they're not receiving it or in the know. So, appreciate you guys going out to the parks and different things. But besides going out to those events and the ones you mentioned, is there any other way that you plan maybe like to do a social media blast with emails or anything of that nature?
So we do have it's on the card there. On the card we do have so zoning update at columbus.gov. That's our email. We do have email blasts. So if you want to if you're not on the email list, please sign up with that. You just send the email out and be asked to it. Like I said, we are going to have social media. We are working with a consulting firm to do boosting of posts to try and get our message. Columbus Planning has 3,000 followers on Facebook. It's not a ton, but it took us a long time to get there without boosting any kind of posts. It's all organic. So follow us on Columbus Planning for any kind of updates as well. We're also on Instagram and LinkedIn. So we're going to do the best we can. I would love to have as much engagement as possible. It is hard to reach the communities, but we will do our best to do that and get hopefully better numbers than we had in the first phase. Phase 1 was very successful though in terms of engagement. If you can compare us to other cities, I know it doesn't sound like much. We had 6,000 surveys taken. Lots of other cities, they redo their rezonings with 1,000, 1,500. So, and then of course the area commission, as much as we can lean on you to kind of spread the word as much as possible. So if you have suggestions for engagement events, you can send it to that email as well. So we do our best to get
Be sure to stop by some of the senior living communities, so like 55 and plus, and drop off some information because they navigate and know the community sometimes better than we do, and they may have some input that they would like and don't have access to, social media or.
Yeah.
Story Point. I think we got one. Story Point's closest. Clifton Canal. I think we got a bunch in Canal or Story Point, up by the Kroger. So there's quite a few that still get out and travel.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for that suggestion. Any other questions?
You're going to be looking at the school stuff when you do zoning in 2026.
Yeah, we're not doing it in schools. We're not zoning the schools. But that will probably be in the future work that we do. You'll see when the maps come in, we're not doing any of we're not in the neighborhoods. We're not doing any of the actual houses that are inside the neighborhoods. We might catch some houses along major corridors stores here and there, but it's few and far between. The majority is going to be, the majority of housing is going to be in single family housing will be in.
How long will the survey process take? What's the deadline?
So very good question. So this survey is going to be probably going through mid-September. We will have another survey in the fall. We have our actual land use categories. Calendar is that we're doing land use policy work now. In the fall, we're going to go for a resolution, a council vote, to adopt updated land use policy. We're going to be doing a survey based off of this. So right now, when you do your survey, you'll just see like mixed use. In the fall, we're going to drill it down to mixed use 1, 2, and 3. Right? But right now, you might see industrial. In the fall, you'll see heavy industrial, light industrial. So we'll start narrowing it down. Then, this is all land use stuff. Then, in 2026, you're going to start doing the zoning districts. And that's when like your mixed use 1 is going to become UGN 1 or UGN 2. Or your mixed use 3 is going to be RAC or UCT. Keeps getting more and more refined. And that's when you'll get those demarcations and setbacks and building standards. That'll be in the code. Then we're going to do another round of workshops. We'll do another round of public engagement. We'll do another survey. And then we'll get those adopted in June. So then we're going to start phase 3. And I'm going to be great, and all my hair is going to fall out. I'm going to be exhausted. But hopefully we're done with the whole city by 2027. Very ambitious timeline.
Going from 4% to 100% in 2 years?
Yeah. Kevin retired at a good time.
How engaged will City Council be in this process?
Very engaged. They are going to be attending the workshops. I think the only one they won't be able to attend is the one on the 23rd because of conflict. But they are really, they championed the first round, and we're looking forward to their support in this round. They should be, they'll pull it across the finish line for us. They will be quite well. As will be.
So as somebody that's still pretty new to this, as the rezoning process is going down, how are things going to be carried out? Like, once the rezoning is done, like, for all of the city, I mean, do things need to be demolished? Do they need to be, like, rebuilt? Like, are we just changing the rules on what businesses and, like, homes can go where?
So all we're doing is we leave it up to the market. No, we're not doing anything. We're just saying, so for example, if it's just a commercial, as an example, say there's a commercial parcel. Right now, the zoning is very restricted, right? And it says you can only do commercial. What we want to do is provide a little more flexibility. So if they want to do commercial on the first floor, and maybe put a unit up above, and someone who wants to have a first floor retail and they want to live upstairs, all right, you can do that, and you don't have to jump through a very expensive rezoning process or variance process and hire an attorney, whatnot. So just like in phase 1, we created additional design standards. So there'll be design standards that don't exist. And of course, the commissions will still oversee any variances with zonings to the zoning code. They'll still be able to provide input on that. We'll use our policy, the land use plan, as recommendations of whether or not that should be supported. And besides that, it's up to the market. Someone can keep a single family house on High Street until the year 3000. We won't stop them. But if someone decides they want to sell their property and redevelop it, they can do that. So it just provides more flexibility to the property owners, while at the same time providing design standards so it's not creating very ugly or
Right.
unwanted type of development.
Yeah, there's this Art Expo thing or whatever called Otherworld near where, I don't know if you've seen it. It's this gigantic empty lot where I guess a bunch of malls used to be.
Yeah.
And there's like one business there, and it's like you have like 2 football fields of parking space and nothing is there. I'm assuming that would be that need to be rezoned.
So
No.
those are the kinds of
I believe it
areas
was.
that we'll probably look at. I'm sorry.
No, I said I believe it was with the last phase. I think that was.
No, I can tell you what's going on with that. What's going on with that, the property owner came here about a year or so ago at a meeting we had here, and she asked for help. She couldn't get it refinanced because the building's in pretty bad shape all the way around. She wanted to get it either tore down and built all new, a whole new shopping mall there, but she couldn't get financing on it because of the homeless that was behind there. As soon as the banks would look at that or finance agencies would look at that, they shut the door. So that's the problem with that. The reason why the Target building got tore down is because the homeless went in there and stole all the plumbing out of it and then took it over to Green Earth to sell.
After the Target was closed, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Elder World. That's a site in Harper is correct. It was rezoned in phase 1 to RAC, which is one of our more intense zoning districts. But unless
Rezoned to what? What was that?
Regional Activity Center,
RAC.
but unless the developer wants to do something with it, we're not. So we're not forcing anybody to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
And one thing we are looking at is putting in some sort of historic preservation, perhaps, benefit or something like that to maintain some of the character and protect some more notable buildings. You know, we want each area to keep their characteristics.
Can you keep the commission informed on that? Because that's phenomenal. If there are funds, we have so many, we're Ohio, so we've got so many Victorians and old Eastlake type houses. And so they just get run down. To fix them is astronomical amount of money to do. And it should, like, you know, close to downtown, some areas up here on the east side, should there be funds to anyone who wants to restore one? Because some of them are national land, what do you call it, Mark? Registered properties, and they have to have specifics, you know. We have the resale shops down close to downtown for those old Victorians, but again, the price tag on restoring one. So if there are funds, I know plenty of people who would like to get into that and restore them back.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be ideal. That's all through the state and the state historic preservation office. And if anything, I've heard that state historic preservation. We do have our local landmarks with the city of Columbus that protect some of those buildings from demolition. Not just the National Register, but we have our own local designation, and they are protected from demolition to some degree. We have our historic preservation areas as well.
But what's the sense in having an old eyesore that's dangerous that people can go up in? If you can't tear it down, it's just going to be historically trash sitting there.
Well, it depends on the property. Most of the ones in the historic district are in poor shape. The ones that are probably in poor shape are probably out of a historic district. If those want to be redeveloped, most likely they receive support, depending on their.
If no one has anything else, Mr. Taba does have another appointment.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get him to his other
So we can
appointment.
keep you on.
We appreciate you coming and giving us that update and giving us the dates, and we will definitely keep those in mind and look forward to getting your reminders and hearing from you on any additional changes that might be occurring. And let us know, again, I'm sure Quay and Jennifer would love to have an event where all 3 commissions are able to, and I know Nashville Park will be one of them, but you know, like where you can come out and give the same message, you won't have to do it 3 times.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Last thing I will say for the new commissioners, if they're interested in learning more, we do offer a commissioner training series. If they're interested in learning more about the zoning process. Those dates.
You mean Lynn?
I'm sorry, yes, Lynn.
I got those forms also.
I would definitely like one of those.
Here's one of my
Thank
cards.
you. Thank you. Have a great evening. Stay cool.
Thank you.
I don't think he's here.
He's
but
not coming.
I've got his info.
Huh?
You introducing his now? Want to go ahead? Okay. If you remember correctly, I'd spoken about there was site plan submitted to the city regarding the car wash on Winchester Pike to change not the use, but what would be on the property to a dispensary. This was a really quick turnaround, so I'm really
I'm sorry.
Thankful
Before you
that.
do that, this is my fault. Do we need to do a motion to modify the agenda?
maybe might as well cover our tracks.
Okay. I'd like to do a motion to modify the agenda to add
Brian Wingfield.
Brian Wingfield to the agenda to talk about the dispensary on Winchester Pike.
Second.
What's his last name, please?
Wingfield, W-I-N-G-F-I-E-L-D.
And Mark seconded. I did the motion and Mark seconded.
So moved. I will add it and resend out the agenda.
So we take roll call, please.
Yes. Chair Barnes.
Can we start with the committee, please?
Which one?
Do me last, please.
I'll do you last. Fine. Mark Harper.
Yes.
I'm yes. Victoria Murray.
Yes.
Sheila Branchard.
Yes.
Diana Bunting.
Yeah.
And we don't have to call the zoning committee members, do we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everyone is a yes. Chair Barnes.
Yes.
Thank you. So moved.
Cool. Okay. So as a quick turnaround, to be here today, he's got a presentation which he said he has some hard copies, but I've also got the digital version which I'm going to show on there. He's going to kind of go over what they're preparing on, what they're planning on doing. And I did take a little sneak peek at the presentation. I do think it's going to answer a lot of the questions that we had. Obviously, if there's any more, he's.
Did you bring any samples?
So legally, we're not allowed. As a dispensary owner, I can. No, unfortunately.
How can we take a wise vote?
Okay,
Don't need
cool.
it. You won't. I don't understand.
So, really quickly, I guess my name's Brian Wingfield. I'm one of the co-owners and founders of the Ohio Cannabis Company, and we are currently in contract on a property at 6099 Winchester Pike in Canal, Winchester. Well, it's technically Columbus, not the mailing address is Canal, Winchester. So, I'm going to hit the next slide real quick. Who we are two families. My partner Cindy Bradford and myself, we own 80-some% of the company together. But Cindy also has her son in the company, owns like 3%, and then some of my family members, my cousin, my uncle, my brother, my father, are also owners in the company. So it is a family-owned company. We have 3 locations that we currently open. We have Canton on the south side. Canton that's open. We have Harpster, which is in Wyandotte County, just north of Marion, and then we have another one over in Pickton. Our upcoming locations, Columbus on the west side of Broad and 270, up in Dublin, which is technically another Columbus one, but it's just across the street, another mailing address there. And that one's over by the Target right there on Sawmill Road. And then the third one is going to be here just off of Gender Road on Winchester Pike. From there, we've been in the industry for a long time. I think we had the seventh license in the state back in 2018. Cindy and I put in for a location over there in Coshocton County. We won that one, and that was a merit-based system, which when they did that, and so we had to go through. We beat out Cheryl Kruger, Cheryl's Cookies, by like less than 1 point because it was all merit-based. And we got second place.
You could have combined.
You
could have worked together on a project.
We could have.
Best cookie ever.
Best cookie ever. And we got second place over in Hardin County, and that did not win us a license. From there, the state did ask for more licenses, and that's how we ended up with 3 there when when they did issue 2 in 2023, but 57% of that allowed for people who had individual dispensary licenses already. They could apply for more licenses, and so we did. So once all those new licenses are awarded, we should have about 340 40 of those throughout the state. 45 of those will end up in Franklin County. So we'll have 3 of those there, and they're all over Franklin County. The host communities, so Columbus will receive 36% of the adult use tax. There was some back and forth that would happen. Senate Bill 56 talked about removing that, but today is my understanding that went away. And so we're going to stay with our government downtown did not change what's going on. So
That's a
the last
first.
slide.
The only thing
So
that they
that's a first.
did.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that were like, hey, as a host community, we planned on this and we were going to use that. So that's why we allow these dispensaries to come in. We would like
It's
to have
almost
some adult use tax.
Like 57% of us voted for it.
Yes.
I didn't.
So you go ahead and hit the next
It's
slide
always
for me.
Come on.
When we're left
I know.
Okay.
Is that a drive-through?
There will be. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Just something here. Throughout the state, there's under 250,000 people that stop in a dispensary each week. Some of those are medical and some of those are adult use. There's currently 153 dispensaries open. They average about 1,499 dispensary or patients or customers each week. Open 7 days a week, that's about 212 to stop in a day. Being this is a little bit less populated area, I think that we'll see under that average, so it won't be a big uptick on traffic, which leads me to my next slide. Traffic count, as I pulled up from Mid-Ohio something.
Regional Planning Commission.
Thank you. Yes. So there's about 8,800 cars back in 2023 that run up and down that road, just short of that location there. So I don't think.
I live on that road.
Yeah.
And that traffic has greatly increased.
Has it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
All
good
the
for
new
him.
houses coming? With all the new houses that are
I'm
coming?
not sure because the houses are not there yet, but the traffic is. I live directly across the street on Winchester Pike and Bryce.
Okay.
In the wrong time of day, it takes me a good 5 to 6 minutes to turn out onto Winchester.
Sorry to hear that.
And it's going to get worse when you. But go ahead.
Okay.
You just have
So
to go
I
down.
would-
You
I
go
would
down
suspect
there.
we're going to see not a lot of traffic. That intersection, we'll see some. I don't know how much the car wash currently sees going through it.
No, hardly any.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been wanting to sell the property for years. So.
Hopefully we got a better use for it. Safety. People tend to have concern about safety with our dispensaries. One of the things I like to say is we've been running these stores in these new locations for about 2 years on average, and we have not needed to call the police for any issues. And realistically, the police come to us for help. 3 times they have come and asked for our video to help them with different things. A person, I think, overdosed in a parking lot behind ours. They wanted to see which vehicle left the person there. We got that information for them. Somebody stole something. We provided video because the person actually backed up in front of our facility to load a lawnmower into a back of a truck, and it was all right on video right there. I was trying to. Oh, the third one was that there. I'm blanking on the third one right now. So we don't do that. What people realize is when they see our facility, there is cameras all over the place in our facility. We have to keep video, and realistically, it really benefits our team, our staff. I tell them it keeps them safe. They like that, and a lot of times it's simple of keeping track of inventory works really well for us on that. It's probably what we use the cameras the most for, that and deterrent. You'll probably see about 36 cameras throughout the facility, but there is some hidden ones, so there's others that are not visible throughout the system, so that kind of nice. We're also even looking at a new technology to track people from the outside as they go to and from there, and so we kind of know even when we're not there. Our buildings have access control, very similar to getting in here. They'll have badges that will get their staff through certain places, and so that keeps people from going to locations they're not supposed to. We really do have a state-of-the-art security system. I'm going to go ahead and the next slide. Pickup window. Yes. So what we will have is that individuals will place an online order. We just opened up and got an app in the last 6 or 8 weeks, which allows patients and adult use individuals to place their order online, and then that allows them to either walk into the building, pick that up in kind of an express area, or to just drive through the drive-through. It's not a traditional drive-through window that you would think of. You don't come up and place your order and then wait. You have to have that done before you come up there. If you do show up and you've not placed an order, we ask you to pull around, come inside, or sit down and download the app and then place your order and get back in line.
They'll be Ubered it pretty soon.
I'll take the number one with
Take the
matcha.
cheese nuggets.
I want the number one with the matcha. Put mine in my matcha.
Next page.
Next page. So I'll give you a quick rundown about how that actually works. So what they do is they place the order. Our team will prepare the order in the back beforehand, and then from there, they'll come up, give us their ID. If they're a medical patient, they'll give us their ID and their medical card, and then from there, we'll take their payments. We do have multiple payment types. Kind of a stereotype that it's cash only. Things that move forward. There's an app that you can do direct deposit. There's also a what they call a cashless ATM transaction, which is like a debit card. They put it in and you just get a little bit of change. People always ask about our
Symbol it though. In
What?
the back, how are they? I just imagine like the ketchup, the mustard, pickle. Are they like standing there and preparing that? How do you keep them? How does one stay safe while they're doing these things?
So in Ohio, everything's prepackaged when it comes to the dispensary. So kind of like your chips and things back here, those are all set. There's a very stringent tracking system. They want to know where every single piece is. We have triple checks before stuff goes out the door to make sure we're getting the right one. If it's not, when it's a dispensing error, and that dispensing error needs to be reported to the Division of Cannabis Control. So they treat this like it's a Schedule I drug.
Right.
So our staff is very aware that they steal this, they're stealing medicine. If that's the case, then automatically just bumps you straight to felony. If it was a $20 package of gummies, stealing that becomes a felony because of the medical side of that. My partner, I'm more of a functional person. She's the pretty person. She's the one that really makes the place look nice. People sometimes refer to our facilities as kind of like urgent care meets an Apple store. And so a couple of pictures I show here, this is like the front of one of our dispensaries. It'll be a little bit different because obviously the building we're working with has a sloped roof, a red roof. We're deciding like, do we keep this and kind of modify it, look a little bit different, kind of fit that, or do we kind of blend it back over a little bit closer to ours? One of the pictures there is showing our lobby, which really we don't use the lobby that much. We do not see enough traffic. People are waiting in line to do that, to sit in the lobby. Most of the time that happens is when the vendors come in and they will give us a discount to talk to patients and adult use customers. And so they'll come in there, we'll give a discount, and then they'll come in and talk to people and explain their products and explain why what they do is the best way to help people out. And so we've improved a lot of things. This won't be exactly like Pickle, Ohio gave us a beautification award for opening up. We have to meet there is the amount of regulations. The joke is we are second to nuclear power in the state by how regulated we are. We have such stringent rules. You have to do all of these things. It's pages and pages of work that you go through there. The camera systems I talked about previously, state will and does on a regular basis look in at our cameras and they watch and check on us. So it is kind of crazy how much that happens.
You're a pharmacy. You're a pharmacy.
Yeah.
Specialized
Really,
pharmacy.
and the politicians did move this, but we were under the Board of Pharmacy until like a year and a half ago. And so we had the state pharmacy agents would would come in and they would do inspections and they would be the ones that would prosecute people. There was other staffs, there was other dispensaries that ended up in court over simple theft or misuses and things like that. That's kind of the rundown. We have not closed on our property yet. We have not come up with our new design to show you what it's going to look like. That's kind of an idea of what we're trying to get to. I know it's a new industry and a lot of people have a lot of questions about it. If you guys at some point want a tour of the facility, once we go in and get one open, we're thinking that our first location on West Broad should be open roughly November, December kind of time frame. So if you did want a tour, I could definitely arrange for that to happen. You'd come over and kind of check that out.
Where is it exactly on Winchester Pike? Is it closer to Gender, or is it after the car wash or before?
It is the car wash.
Oh, you guys are buying the car wash?
We're in contract with the car wash.
Oh.
And then we're going to cover up the walls there and then build inside of that.
Oh, okay.
Tear it down and
No.
start all over.
No. So it was kind of an expensive piece of property to completely tear down and do.
So probably you can buy one of the partials from Tom Warner that was along that way.
So we thought that we'd be able to save money by having the walls and the roof already there and going down that process. And as we worked on this and started talking to contractors, I don't know if that was like actually true because these bids are coming in hundreds of thousands of dollars higher than we were expecting.
And sometimes it's harder to work with an existing structure, especially when you have those bays underneath that have to be
Yes. So
Well, that guy from Columbus in Zone In said, there might be funding for these old properties. That's the most hippie thing that you could possibly do is turn one of those into a dispensary. Do you guys have a green carbon footprint? Are you striving for something like that?
we have not put that on our company.
It's green, all right.
What did he say?
Reusing the property, I feel like it's a little bit green, but we have not part of that part of the company.
I know this is very premature, but just out of curiosity, what's your typical profit margin with your company? And then,
So it really depends upon the rent and things like that. So one of the downsides of this industry, which most people don't know this, so because we're a Schedule 1 drug, the Internal Revenue Service says Schedule 1 drugs do not get the same treatment as the rest of the businesses out there in the world. So if you look at a profit and loss statement, you have gross sales across the top, and we have cost of goods, which is the next line, and then right below that is what we call minus that from that is the cost is the gross net income, and then from there you would have your normal expenses below that, below your net income. The Internal Revenue says everything below cost of goods sold does not count. And so because of that, my partners and I end up falling into a 68, 72% tax rate. So we pay taxes on the employees' taxes.
So you pay all those taxes and still have to give 30-something%.
So that's a different, that 36% is actually kind of a separate bucket. It's not our money, we're just a caretaker for it.
Okay.
So that and the sales tax.
Okay.
Like we're custodians of it, I think is the correct term, of that money. So we hold that in the account. And then my lovely young wife, she is the person who pays all the bills, so she pays that every month.
So you're talking my language. So how do you manage your gain loss?
So we try to keep it tight.
Stay on topic.
That is on topic. That is on topic. He just listed his chart of accounts and what was ahead. How are the gain losses an important line to recognize whether they are going to be viable for the long run?
So we do make a profit, but so the business makes a profit. The individuals pay the taxes. So we do pay a large chunk of taxes. There is a small hope that Health and Human Services recommended that cannabis no longer be a Schedule 1 drug, be moved to a Schedule 2. And so that's kind of what we're banking and moving towards. We also have a new CPA who has a little bit of a of a different process on inventory management. So we're going to use a 471C method moving forward. That will helpfully move that a little bit of those materials and other expenses up into the cost of goods sold. We haven't done that yet, so that'll be a new thing for us.
You best do it before you get too many
Yes.
a year or two under you.
So, and so if that does change from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which we just need the DEA to finish that process. Once that happens, then we get treated as a normal business. And then at that point, I think we will see profits. I'm guessing in line with a business of that size. I don't know if we'll end up in the high single digits or things go better and more into the 20% range, but I would suspect that we will be a pretty profitable business. We will have staff-wise. My guess is for a location like this, we'll probably see between full-time and part-time, roughly mid-20s number of employees at a location like this. And my guess is we'll be in the upper teens to start. The few managers, we'll have 3 different managers in the facility. We'll have 3 different responsible parties. One of those will be the general manager, and they'll make quite a bit more than that.
Your hours gonna be?
So the rest of the store is currently run like a 10 to 7, but Canton's a little bit bigger town, and so we're getting ready to bump that to an 8. It'll be 10 to 8 is kind of where we're trying to move to this summer. So I think that's kind of there. We can't go past 9. I think a 9 to 9 is the state limits. So we couldn't be before 9, it couldn't be after 9. But that also will depend upon when we open up. It'll probably be a little bit less hours. And if we see a demand, then we'll adjust that accordingly. And if we need more staff, then we'll adjust that accordingly.
Do you know how many more of these are in this area? Like,
so there is. Can I look at your map over here for a second?
There's one on Main Street I saw the other day.
in our commission area?
Oh, no, no,
There is. I feel like maybe up in the. No, well, it's like south of the Blacklit Creek Trail, about a mile and a half up from us. There's another one that has this hidden spot. If you type in Ohio 10B map into Google, that will bring up. Yep, scroll down, and then if you go up a little bit more, just a touch more, you can do by county, and then you can scroll down and get Franklin.
And that'll show you all the ones that are
Yeah.
open and active in the area.
So the black one, so like right there, if you hold your mouse over the bottom right, go down one. So that's Ohio Clean Leaf. That's the Landis brothers that have that location. Down a little bit is.
That's right by Abbey Trails.
That's us right there.
And then that's you.
Yeah.
Doesn't that help? What do you see?
Must be one coming.
That's the green ones are open. The black ones are coming.
Oh boy. So I mean, how
That's
do you
the pawn
guys
shop
judge
right
your
there.
comp sets on that? Is that going to interfere
It's the pawn shop.
with anything that you guys are doing, or the cost of the cost of goods sold for you guys having different ones in your comp set?
So realistically, the Pickle one is profitable, and there's 2 dispensaries in Pickle, Ohio, which I think is about 27,000 people. I had to guess the population there. It'll be a little bit smaller staff, and then from there, the county has about 100,000, all in all. So we get people from different parts there. I would say that in this area here, we're very excited because as you go south and east of us, we have to go clear down to Carroll before you see another dispensary down there. So
Well,
maybe a little. I don't think it'll be in and out quick.
well, what about the quality level of your products compared to others?
It's all state mandated.
Yeah.
So everything has
Is
to be grown in Ohio, and there is currently like 40 some cultivators that are allowed to grow, and we have to buy from one of those. And all of them, because of that, are really competitive and do really good products. From there, there's also a processor. I think there's like 49 processors in the state, and they'll turn the plant material into vapes, gummies, chocolates, sugars, and powders.
Is Ben a leaf for processing?
Yes. Yes. Have you guys toured that facility?
My neighbor is a partner with it.
Okay. Bill?
Mm-hmm. Brian.
Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bill Williams. I know Bill Williams well. So.
Mm-hmm.
That place is, oh my goodness, beautiful. If you get a chance to tour that one, that's probably one of the better ones in the state. Peggy's one of the owners, and her husband is the manager of the largest Campbell's facility in the country, and he left there and built this facility. And I think he put $300,000 into the floor. Just the stuff you walk on is a continuous floor of this, I don't know, 20,000 square foot manufacturing facility. It is beautiful. I think Pfizer walked in, they wouldn't change a single thing about that.
I just have one simple question. If everything does go into play and you do end up converting this, what has been your approach or your model with your other locations and your community involvement, whether, donations or partnerships or things of that sort?
We've done a couple donations, but I don't feel like what I would like to do is not lend. I would like to help out kids and things like that. But a pop company helping out kids is not the message that any of us want.
Well,
I don't want to send that.
I mean, when you look at Colorado, it's legalized and the tax money goes to schools. So in theory, you're helping kids.
Yeah. So the tax money will go to Columbus, and Columbus will get a say on that. Donations, I think the last one we did was the local police department. So it's just, I think that where they were doing some kind of fundraising, I don't remember that exactly. But I think that, I don't know, maybe, we've done some, outreach and talking to other people. We've done speeches for, civic associations around the state. There's one of them in Wyandotte County. There was a drug rehabilitation program or something like that. And they had lock boxes. People could lock it up so it could be for children. So we worked with them and helped fund one of those things to kind of.
So working with potential block watches or HOAs when it comes to safety and security things, when maybe drug or something related to something.
There might be some things like that we would have interest in. Yes.
Okay. I'm good.
Thank you.
No, he's just here to present. Good neighbor.
If you guys want to come tour once we start the construction, we can probably make a contract or give us some extra hard hats. We can kind of walk through and explain it to you. Yeah. Hey,
I like that.
I live in Central Ohio. I tell people when we go to do these, there's a chance I could run into you or one of the patients or one of the customers. And so I want to be a good steward. I want to be a good neighbor. And so those kind of things are important to us. So when Mark said, hey, can you do this? I'm like, yes, I'll be over there. I apologize I couldn't be here next month. But
I appreciate you coming because, like I said, I live across the street. And when I first heard what was coming, I'm like, oh.
We're not like the stereotypical Colorado, an old house converted into it. We work to be a very professional company.
And I see that now, and I feel much better than what I felt when I first heard what was coming.
When I went to Canada, they were everywhere. You didn't even notice they were there. They were just walk down the street, and you might pass. Two of them right beside each other, and you wouldn't even notice what it looked like.
I think community involvement is important.
I'm looking forward to potentially a really funny billboard on the highway.
No billboards.
Not from you. Someone else.
I think community is important because even though you're not gonna target. We love kids and people take that and as you targeting the kids, but saying, hey, I'm a part of your community. I'm here. I'm your neighbor. What is it that you need? You see a need. Kids back to school is coming up. Different things like that. Don't shy away from I'm probably the most hippie person on the board, right? So I just think of how communities should be, don't shy away from helping the kids, do multiple things. Like Mark had a great idea for block watch parties and stuff like that. So if you partner with them and you decide, hey, we want to donate to back to school and different things, I think it'll peanut butter spread better.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have several other things on our agenda tonight, so try to make this quick, get through these quickly. Do we have any update on the community liaison officer?
I don't have a name, although
Officer
I
Myers,
do want you to know that Officer Tolber and myself have been really pushing for a certain candidate, and we just hope that will happen. I can't give you a name at this point.
Do they have a timeline? And who are
I
we supposed to talk to in the
I
meantime?
would push this because we want to get someone who is going to be very good for the community, and just give us the opportunity to work as fast as possible, and see who will accept.
What happened, Officer Myers?
No, this is Officer Kitty, but went to another area. So this person will be working in 14th precinct. However, as you know, the commissions kind of mesh, and of course Eastland is a big pull. So just give us an opportunity to work on your behalf.
So she said, what happened with Officer Myers? Did he go to another
He's here.
precinct? Oh, he's still going to be our liaison?
Not Officer Myers, it's Officer Kitty. He's left.
Okay.
So Officer Myers will remain our liaison?
Yes.
Okay. I thought we were going to do it for some reason. Okay.
Good.
Did you provide any type of update for today?
Oh, okay. For the area.
No, he
No,
said,
no.
did Officer Myers provide any sort of update for this
I am so
meeting?
sorry. I saw him blinking and sleeping today. He ran off while I ran in, so he and I did not do that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And then the next thing on our agenda is City Attorney, Sophia.
Yeah, I can provide an update on Eastland Mall and what's going on there, as well as a brief update on Fort Rapids. So Eastland Mall, last month the court appointed an emergency receiver to the property, after an inspection of the property showed that demolition site was not being kept as securely as it was supposed to be being kept, and it was creating a really dangerous situation for anybody around the area, but specifically displaced children who attend school in what is essentially an active demolition site. The court had allowed the property owners to start demolition while school was still in session on the opposite end of Eastland Mall to try to minimize, any interaction with the school children. And it just, in practice, that was not the reality, basically. So since that point, the court appointed the emergency receiver to the property, which means a team is assigned by the court to manage everything on site and make sure everything runs smoothly, make sure that the property is brought up to certain standards. Every receivership is different. Colonial Village was under a receivership, and they had specific orders for what they were supposed to do for their receivership. For the receivership on Eastland Mall, their specific orders is to demolish the property and maintain the value of the asset. So that's going to mean demolishing it in a way that allows it to be built upon later, not just demolishing it so that there's like a perk surface underneath. Essentially, city code only requires demolition so that if you fill it with dirt and put some grass on top of it, and that is not a buildable condition. So it's a very extensive demolition project. It's very expensive. It's going to take a lot of time. In the meantime, the school is out for the summer, but they still have summer courses. So for the students that are there this summer, they provided a detailed safety plan, which has been approved by the court, and the court now feels much more comfortable with what safety measures are in place, in addition to the measures being taken by the receivership team to make sure that the property is more secure than it was under the Eastland Mall ownership. The receivership team is working with the owners of Eastland Mall Holdings, which is kind of the main structure of the building. They are also working with the owners of the old Sears building and the owners of the school building. So that whole property that everybody considers as one is actually owned by 3 different people. All 3 of them need to work together in order for this to go smoothly, and now the receiver is kind of managing that process. The caveat in that is that as of earlier this month, the people that own Eastland Mall filed an appeal for the appointment of the receiver. So it's going to be a little bit, our process is going to be stayed a little bit until we can figure out exactly what that appeal will mean. In the past, the owners had signed an order that waived their right to appeal under certain circumstances. They're arguing that those circumstances no longer apply because the court appointed the receiver rather than the city moving for the receiver to be appointed. So we're working through what that means. In the meantime, the receiver team has been given enough money to make sure security stays on the property and their property maintenance stays on the property.
Who's the receiver that was appointed?
New Perspective Asset Management. New Perspective Asset Management, NPAM. NPAM is, we've worked with them on numerous properties over the years. They handle most of the city's smaller receivership projects. So a dilapidated house or whatever that's sent to receivership, NPAM is responsible for doing that. They do really good work, and the court has faith that they will do similar work here. But that process is going to be slowed down. They have a plan for, getting a lot of the kind of site that's been already partially demolished, completely demolished before the kids are back in school for, next year. But with this appeal pending, we're in a holding pattern. So we're trying to get through this as fast as possible because it cannot continue to stay in the condition it is. It's dangerous. We did a full walk through the property. I've seen up close and personal how, dangerous it is to have, half demolished rebar hanging 3 stories up on a building. So we're working on it as fast as we possibly can, but we have to respect the court's process. So that's our update with Eastland Mall.
Do they have a buyer?
Not that I know of at this point. Both parties. So the receiver was appointed over the Sears building and this main structure, not over the school itself. At this point, in any receivership, the original owner has the ability to buy back the property or redeem it out of receivership if they pay the receivership expenses or a substantial portion of that that's settled. At this point, both owners have expressed an intent to redeem the property at the end of the receivership process. It does not seem likely that the court will allow them to redeem it out of receivership sooner than it getting to a point that the court is comfortable with the condition of the property, which means demolishing it. There's no rehabbing Eastland Mall at this point. But that is the intent right now. But the receiver has an obligation, if the property owners do not redeem it, to sell it for the highest and best offer. So that's where we're headed with that. It's going to take a while. Even if we hadn't hit this hiccup, it was still going to take a while. This demolition is incredibly expensive and involves rebuilding walls, taking other ones down, filling holes, a whole lot of work. So yeah, that's where we're at with Eastland Mall. Any questions on that?
Will that building ever go away?
Are they still mandated?
Jeez.
Are they still mandated to have it done by September?
Yeah, as So with the receiver appointed, it's changed the timeline because now the receiver is responsible for bringing it into compliance. The receiver's timeline for everything prior to the appeal getting filed was pretty quick. They were hoping to have all of the parts of the building demolished that have already been partially demolished by August, and then start on the main structure of the building around August, September, depending on funding. So I think at this point we can hope that this time next year, we will have seen most of Eastland Mall demolished. But it's really going to depend on this appeals process and what we can do in the meantime to make it happen. But I'll continue to update you every month when I come here, and maybe I'll have better news next month.
Isn't it? I mean, to me, it's a safety concern as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The court's really concerned with that, and she's expressed numerous times how concerned she is with the safety and the threat that it poses to the students in the area, the local, people who live near Eastland Mall. It's just, in addition to the fact that the owners of one of the properties tried to throw a carnival in an active demolition zone. Not ideal. They didn't get to do that, so.
Haunted house.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, it would have been a really spooky carnival. So that's where we're at. We're doing our best. In the meantime, it is, of course, top priority that regardless of what other funding is given to the receivership team, that the funding that they do have goes to security, goes to higher fences to make sure people can't get through them, goes to all the things that let people know that this is not a place to be hanging around. That's Eastland Mall.
I highly doubt this is going to happen, but could you kindly tell your boss just to declare it a public nuisance and eminent domain it, just like we did with City Center?
It's already been declared a public nuisance, long since.
Let's go for it.
I do not know of any city plans at this point to exert eminent domain over Eastland Mall. Candidly, I think I don't think the city wants to pay for the demolition project. It's unbelievably expensive.
Their rolls and their equipment, just go in and bulldoze it.
Somebody
It's
just
their
lay on the
property.
ground over there and declare the injured, and then they'll demolish the
I
whole
will
thing down.
It's going to be
Gladly go
at-
defend in
at
front of the
least a
judge,
$5
but I don't
million
care that they broke the law for that.
So,
Something down.
yeah, that's where we're at. As for Fort Rapids, it appears that it is really close to selling. We should have that all finalized relatively soon. And then in other East Side news, Colonial Village officially has new owners. They are currently on site working to rehabilitate the parts of the building that they can. And starting, I think, August 26th, the city will have our first on-site meeting with the new owners of Colonial Village to talk about the rehabilitation plan and do exactly what we've done with numerous apartment complexes on the east side and across the city, meeting with them to discuss all safety concerns, all code enforcement concerns, refuse concerns, and offer resources to the extent the city is able to increase the standard of living for all the tenants who will eventually be moving back into Colonial Village. So those are all the updates I have, unless you have questions.
And the new owners are for Fort Rapids, the possible.
The new owners for Fort Rapids are the same people who have been trying to buy it for
Drebber
over,
or something.
yeah. I can't pull their name off the top of my head, but they've been thoroughly vetted.
It got through probate then.
Their last name is Drebber, I think. That's how you say it.
Is it the church?
No, the church is going to be a partner. The investment is the
They came here
family.
before the commission.
So I actually learned that was a different one when they came the first time. I'll look it up. Continue. I'll find it.
And then Colonial Village,
They were purchased, I think it's technically Colonial Village Owners LLC or something like that. It's a subsidiary of an Ohio-based development company. They also have been thoroughly vetted and are already expending a ton of money to rehabilitate this process. So, yeah.
they were fully vetted.
So many months of vetting.
Don't they own those ones on Creek
I believe so.
by the railroad track.
I believe so.
Oh, near the,
The ones that they've been renovating, building by building over there.
But they've already done a lot of work.
What about Refugee Road? Those apartments that we.
Edgewater Landing.
Yes. Are those any update on those?
So we have another status conference coming up, I believe, next week or the week after. We still have not received confirmation that they have sold to the new owners. So the same complex or the same ownership company that is trying to buy Life at Edgewater Landing bought Commons at Water's Edge. And we have been doing regular meetings with them. At every meeting, they still have said it is our plan to buy Life at Edgewater Landing as well. I think they're nailing down their funding sources. So I don't have an update on that. I do know that they've been court ordered to keep all of those units vacant. Those will not be reoccupied until we get to a point where they can pass a life safety inspection, which we are very far off of right now. In addition, the property owners paid a settlement to cover the expenses or the majority of the expenses that the city and Franklin County paid to relocate all of the individuals who are living at the property. So they're demonstrating an attempt to do the right thing here and continue to work with us while they own the property to make sure everything's safe for the remaining residents there. And we will continue to hope that the sale will go through and we will have someone who's ready and able to put several $1 million into renovating the property.
I have all the zeros, but I'm just missing the one.
I'd love for you to pitch that.
Any word on the any more tiny houses and senior housing? I've been getting asked about more opportunities for those tiny houses, so I didn't know if attorney's office is going to cost me more contracts or information on that.
Are you talking about the tiny houses intended to be? I can't remember what the name of that complex is.
Vista Village.
Yes, thank you. Or Vista Villages. So it's our understanding that they have multiple tracts of land that they're planning on building out to.
They start phase 2.
Yeah, they're about to start phase 2. So I know that Klein, as well as myself and many other members of the city, went to on site to meet with them, for them. I know Zach was really impressed by everything that they're doing, and the city intends to be supporting that kind of development.
And Aaron Foster is a contact for that in housing department, in the vision of housing.
Can I get his information from you before I leave?
But we can connect with her.
Yes, because I have some people that are actively looking, wanting information.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Sophia. I appreciate your update.
Thank you.
Shanika's not here, so we'll go with Lynn next for the neighborhood liaison.
Yeah. Neighborhood best practices is an event that happens in October. What we wanted to is showcase what commissions and civics and block watches do. We want to do that visually. I'd like to get Greater Southeast photos of maybe some national night outs, of some cleanups of anything we do, so that we can have pictures and have the activity and the name of the organization. I'd like that probably right after National Night Out, because I know there's a lot of dining. So please consider that and take pictures, spread it day, anything that's going on that you can showcase what you can do.
Do you have a date for that? Is that like a one-day event or?
Well, neighborhood best practices is
okay.
Saturday.
Yeah.
A Saturday.
Okay, I know that's
And
done by
a
from the store.
non-weekend
I
Saturday
remember.
for OSU.
Where do we send the information to?
You can send it to me, and I will get it to our public information. So please consider that and take pictures as even something like this would be really good. Also, if there's some people that have passed on since last September, like to get their names. I know I want to get and a few more names so that we can put that on the list as they scroll down for that. Also, want you to keep your eye on capital improvements in the city's website. See what is going on in your area, and just look at those as that process unfolds. I will send you also the cooling sites for our, across the city. I think one I see is right at Spray Ground, and there's a few others, Coder Rise and things like that, that you might want to get that information on your website. Not your website, but Facebook. Also for commissioners, there's been a change in the commission training courses, and changing the dates. They had to revise to July 19th to another date, the 26th. So I'm going to get you that also. Also, Sophie, I did mention it, but you're probably well versed in Duncan law as it relates to zoning. Okay, we'll talk offline. I know I can't get came to the city attorney's office, but I would just like the commission to be retooled with like considerations there are for zoning. It's just an ongoing lesson of how those considerations are made. Also, I know that there was a change in the going back to making August the election month, and so as that is the case, I'm asking the commission to set up an election committee so that we will have that process in place. That would be held the last week of, I think it's the last Saturday in August. Diane, I thank you for proposing National Night Out for the zoning surveys. I think that's a great idea. Any other opportunities that we can find to get out to the community is very important. Are there any questions for me?
Really quickly, I think I touched base with you on the commission for the Black Girls. What is it called for Columbus?
Black Girls Rising.
Black Girls on the commission. Remember, you had the binder. I had some organizations that were trying to reach them and could not. There's a commission for African American youth, and so they used to operate online, but I think I sent you an email and I hadn't heard back to find out who is over that chapter, because I have 3 organizations that would like to, in our community, that would like to connect with them. Also, with the new LGBTQIA+ commission that was announced on Day of Pride, I have some other people in the community want to know how they get involved, or what the meetings are, or just general information on that.
Get more information on that probably September, October. The goal is to have applications out by fall and everyone seated by the end of December.
Okay. Well, they're kind of like, it was on the news and on the social media, like boom, and so now, I mean, it's almost like they have to have some kind of target point so people can at least know that information that you just said.
If you go on the city's website and the city's social media post, they have a link that take you to the information about it.
Okay.
It'll tell you the composition, what they're looking at, meeting-wise, the objectives, goals, etc.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Did we get, thank you, Lynn. Did we get minutes from last meeting? I didn't see them. Okay, I'm gonna say that we did it, so let's,
Last meeting I ran. I have them. I'll have them.
okay, we'll just push them off to the next one.
I was out
We'll do that.
there.
We will do the, that's no problem. We'll do the minutes for May and, for June
Just do May and
in July, May and July. Okay, the zoning BZA, he's not gonna be here, he hasn't made it here. Can we still go over it without?
Sorry, Dave texted me that I was actually
You're gonna do it for him?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. I mean, whether he's here or not, we're still gonna go
We
through
can
it.
still review it, okay.
Yeah. But since you're here, I'll let you go through it. So we have one application from the zoning committee. It's BZA 25-053 regarding 3900 Shannon Road. It's a property to the west of Dayspring, right across Shannon, where they're building all those homes. If you've been around a while, it's the old paintball field. They needed a variance for yardage because the left side of the proposed development that they came through the first time, we're probably going to get the verbiage wrong, but they want single family attached, basically kind of like duplex homes that would be individually owned, but they're not condos. I know, that's a lot. Zoning committee voted 2 yes, 1 no, 2 abstentions, so technically it passed. I would consider it divided. Outside of that, I don't know what all else you have. Ed?
I'm Jared Table. I'm with Fisher Homes here.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Jared Table. Last name's spelled a little funny. Tajfel. Thank you again for your time tonight. I'm here for Dave. I work with Fisher Homes and talk about the product, about what we do and how we manage that process. But really just here to get your blessing on a recommendation for our rear yards to reduce from a 25% setback to a 22% setback. It may seem small, but it is something that we need in order to properly fit our homes, and they would have a private rear concrete patio out the back that was needed for the reduction in the rear yard setback. So, as Mr. Arnold was saying, the houses are individually owned on each side. The lots are simple, meaning you own the ground underneath, you own your half of the building, and you're just separated between the party wall. What's nice about these products is they are low maintenance, so your snow care is fully taken care of. Your lawn care is taken care of, your landscaping. What we don't want to happen, obviously, is people move in right next to each other, own the same building, and one person just really cares so much more than the next, that maybe half the building gets taken up as the other. We want to make sure it's all kind of uniformed and maintained. Don't have two neighbors kind of fighting over that. The product's a great product. We're very proud of it because it just allows people that want a home but really can't afford a home in today's environment the opportunity to own something. You are sharing one wall, but it's still the ownership. What we like is the simple approach and not the condo approach, because people that take pride in their yard and in their lawn, and they will feel like they actually own it. Part of the condo association. It's nice. The product will probably come in the low 300s, or 330, I'd say, on an outsale price. So they're meant for typically move down buyers. What we'll see typically is that it's 2-bedroom, 2 to 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Really nice floor plan though. I'm just here to answer any questions that you guys have.
Yeah, basically.
They don't. They're
And Dave didn't. Dave's answer to what he just said was the opposite. He said that he thought they would have to take care of their grass on each side, but if that's the way that they're doing it, I appreciate that, because I couldn't even imagine having to wait on my neighbor to cut half the grass on the building.
Yeah, and that's what we found when we introduced the product, and that's why we did it. I did speak to Dave on Friday, and I told him that. He said, like, he had no idea that we did that. So it's nice. We'll come in the spring and the fall. We'll redo your landscaping, or new mulch beds, take care of it for the winter and get it winterized. It is nice to know that you want.
So I own the building, but you're gonna come for how long?
So what we do is it's like to do lawn care. How long to do lawn care?
Or you do it for 10 years, for 30 years, for the
Forever.
rest
So
of my
it
life?
stays with the building and in the association. So what happens is you'll have a homeowners association for the community, and within that you'll have a sub HOA that maintains just those houses.
Okay.
So it'll stay with the building.
Okay.
You guys own the ones on 33 going into Canal Winchester?
That is Ryan Homes.
Okay, they look kind of the same, but they're
Similar.
doubles.
Yeah. Our homes also have a loft option, which is nice. We see a lot of moved out buyers who have grandkids that come over, family members that live with them. It does allow for kind of a separation of living space. That's another bedroom or two if you want, and a bathroom upstairs as well.
This party wall, where is it connected?
It runs straight through the middle. So what they do is they run a wall and then they leave air gaps in it and then fill in the rest. So the air gaps are tiny, but that air is the space basically between what you own and then what is that party wall that is kind of split between both parties.
So if there's a flood with a problem with utilities on one side, then the whole building will be affected by that. How thick of a barrier is that wall?
So not necessarily. They are run on two different utility lines. So if you do have a utility issue with one, it likely may not impact the other because they are run separate. I guess to your point, we haven't experienced.
I just ran into one where the person's house got flooded and it went right under the wall to the other side. So I just was wondering how thick of a divide is that?
I don't know off the top of my head if I have to put a number on it. I'd say you're probably 2 inches wide and another 2 inches on each side. It's probably a 6-inch barrier.
It's a decision for sure.
Outside of that, this did originally come through the commission. The commission did request there was going to be requested additional communal space, such as a pocket park. It went through the development commission. The development commission essentially reiterated the same thing. They thought it was an appropriate use, but the plan was overly dense and there was a lack of communal space. It made its way through city council.
The biggest thing that I have an issue with is that pond in front by the gatherings area for the residents. There doesn't seem to be any kind of fencing up around it. And when we first looked at it, we were more along the lines thinking having a separate area playground for kids, not attracting them to the pond area. So, could you guys, is there something you could, I mean, I know the layout is pretty much set, but I don't think that's what we discussed when they first came here as to what we wanted to see in the final plans before it went to city council. So I know this is just asking for a variance for that change, but since you're back here asking for a variance, we're saying, can you fix that?
It's something we'll look into for sure. I can't promise it because I'm only the builder. Rich Connie, the developer, is one who ultimately has that decision. It's something I'll bring up for sure. It's something we've looked into and done in other places. So it is something that we'll explore for sure.
Who's the developer?
Rich Connie, the developer.
But you do agree that having a retention pond next to a family gathering spot is not a wise idea. Because you can watch your children closely and they'll be in the pond in 30 seconds.
And especially with stuff going around.
Yeah, just no, 3 feet from the flood, you can't see.
We'll look into that for sure.
That is my issue as zoning chair. Is this has already gone through the process once, and the developer and company has obviously not followed suit with those recommendations. There's obviously concern with the communal space being next to the pond. I think we're all very well aware of the process and how this is going to go anyways.
Yep.
So whether this is ceremonial or not, I would urge that everyone vote no on this, just to simply send a message. Because I think it's very unacceptable that it's already gone through the process and nothing's been changed. I also thought it was very unacceptable that the agent presented himself in such a smug and rude way regarding it. So I would urge someone to make a motion to disapprove of this.
I make the motion.
A second.
I've got a motion for disapproval and a second, so I will call roll. Commissioner Bunting?
I vote no on it.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute, no, you need to say a yes.
Oh, yes on this, yeah.
Okay.
You get me confused.
Yes to the no.
Commissioner Calhoun?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanchard?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes?
Abstain.
I am a yes, so that is 5 yeses and 1 abstention. I will do the form. Usually I'll have it within the 48 time period, and then I will CC Dave and everyone else and send it to planning.
Yeah, I should ask this before we go. Is there a conditional option, a conditional vote that would be
This is
a recommendation?
just me telling you the code. We are simply an advisory board.
Yeah.
We cannot force conditions on anything.
Okay.
Normally when we do, it's simply just us voicing our opinion on those things. So when we submit it and it goes through the rest of this process, because you're going to go through BZA, those on the BZA board will be provided this form where they've heard from the residents and our voice, and then they can go from there. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Outside of that, I have nothing else from zoning that I can remember. So I am all good on that.
Good, thank you.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I was.
Committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
No,
Anything on the treasury?
no.
Anything on code enforcement?
The only thing I have been working on the football field next to the Lindor property in Mayberry Park. And I've also turned in a couple other areas that was real big. But right now it's hard to turn in anything with all that construction on Refugee Road, because the whole road needs turned in. I mean, it's terrible looking down through there.
Where at?
They're putting in sidewalks and all kinds of stuff from Doe Bixby clear to Bryce.
Oh, okay. About time.
Yay.
So the high school kids finally can get a sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Years. Finally.
That's been
That's
years.
been close to the making. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Finally get it.
Thank you.
We've been working on that since 2007. It finally happened.
Those
That's the
people are
city
grown
of Columbus for you.
now.
The previous chair, Anna. No, not Anna.
Ava.
Ava. Yes, thank you, Ava.
Yes, Ava, if you're out there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did call in one and I gave it to Lynn. I called in a property or several properties along Gender Road where our sign is right there by the auto zone that says that you're entering the Greater Southeast Area Commission. And it was weed high again. And I can't even blame the neighbors because they cut their grass, they cut it to the curb, they take care of the easement. But who would think that you have to go out back of your house, beyond your fence, beyond the property to the fence that's surrounding the neighborhood, and cut beyond that to get to Gender Road. So the city's told them that that's their property on Gender Road to cut, and it goes from Gender Road to a sidewalk. I mean, there's a sidewalk along Gender Road, and then it dips down, and then there's a white fence, and then between the white fence there's a little bit of property, and then there's their fence, then there's their backyard, then there's their house, then there's front yard, then there's their sidewalk, and the curb again. So they never cut back there.
That's going on in a lot of the neighborhoods I see. These people think they don't have to cut the easement. They're not even cutting the grass in between the sidewalk and the curb. They'll cut their yard, but the sidewalk to the curb, I don't know what message the city could get out to these people. I can't turn them all in. They did not pay for to write them all down.
Diana, this is a little different though. It's their house, the back of their house backs up to Gender Road. The front of their house backs up to another road. So it's kind of like along Chatterton, where the city does cut that now. Those people don't cut that anymore. They don't cut that. The city's been cutting that, and that's why it looks so nice because it's been cut. It's being cut by somebody, and I think it's kind of, I don't know. Maybe they can look into it, but it's a little, to me, too much to expect when they don't have an HOA. Maybe the HOA cut it when those houses were first built as general property that everybody shared, but I don't think those easements are being cut by those people.
Yeah, I think the general rule is that you are responsible for everything up to the midway point of whatever, right of way is behind you. So whether that's an alley or in this case, representation of the road, like you're responsible up until that point. So technically, per city code, all of those homeowners would be responsible for that plot. I think that's the city's default. I don't know about Chatterton and why that was switched.
They don't even have a way to get to that. They would literally have to get in their car, put their lawnmower or something, go down the street, around the block, come back all the way around to get to that because it's beyond a fence. That's a shared fence that's fencing in all of the properties.
I can look into it. It is not common, from everything I know, for the city to take responsibility for those parcels. I understand that that's a really weird situation.
I went through the same thing, and the city told me the same thing, that the property owner is responsible for it because we have houses that face another street and they have a fence, and then it goes out on Refugee Road, and that part wasn't getting taken care of. But it's up to the property owner to take care of it.
And right there at Gender and Lehman, the city bought that easement when they put in, or the county or somebody, when they put in the sidewalk to nowhere in the new bridge. They put in trees, and the man across the street, when he cuts one side, he goes over and cuts the other side because the city won't come out and cut it, and it looks bad.
Address, range for the house?
Yes, it's between Lehman Road and Winchester Lakes.
And I can send you 315.
Yeah. And you said that was on Refugee?
No, it's on Gender.
Sorry.
Gender Road.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Okay.
I know 311 is just going to cite it back to the property owners. So let me see.
Okay. All right. Communication liaison, Mark, you got anything?
I did a refresh on the website. That's about it.
Looks great.
It looks coherent.
It looks still great. Never been there before.
Outreach, Sheila, you have anything?
Oh, wait.
No. Sorry.
Everyone got the chance to see the brochure that I sent in the group meeting? Is everyone okay with that?
I just wanted a picture of our commission.
That's another thing. I think I can do a small order because I just want to make sure that we have enough order before Rise Up.
Okay.
Which is July. So are we fine with just getting a small batch right now, with the way it is, and then we can figure out the whole picture thing? Because we're meeting with Near East next week anyways.
Okay.
And I can ask them all about how they did theirs. But I just want to make sure that we have brochures and hot cards for Rise Up because I know that I just want to make sure that we can get a good turnaround with the city printing. Because we're at the end of June. So if we're all okay with that, then I will do that this week.
Okay.
Is that the one in Napier Park?
Yeah.
Yes. July 10th.
When is it?
July 10th. Education and youth. Teachers. Yeah.
No. Oh, I do. I connected with Nationwide Children's, who I'm waiting on a date. They reached out to me, wanting to connect with the commission, wanting to connect with HFO, Humanity First Ohio, looking to see how they can integrate some programs for youth as far as mental health awareness and different things like that. So I will get back with chair and vice chair soon. I should have a date probably like tomorrow. Was waiting for the VP that I connected with to come back to the States. So that is a new development for the commission, is how Nationwide wants to connect with our area commission for the youth and for the commission.
Okay, great. Anything else on committee reports? All right. Report from the chair. I'm going to just skip down to some of the things in the new business. We talked about Nasper Park. National Night Out is 8/5. Shred Day is being moved. We can choose between September 6th or September 13th. Do we have a preference? Labor Day?
Probably the 13th.
Labor Day is the 1st. The 1st. September 1st. I prefer the 13th, but I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Anybody have any objections? Do we have any big training dates on September 13th? Nope, not on the training schedule. Want to go with September 13th? I make a motion that we go with September 13th.
I second.
You take a vote.
Yes. Mark?
Yes.
Peaches, yes. Victoria?
Yes.
Chair Blanchard?
Yes.
Chair Bunting?
Yep.
I mean, Commissioner Bunting. Okay, so pass. Chair, everybody's chair. Everybody's chair today.
And yes.
Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
And the location?
We are still finalizing that, but we think it's going to be at the Kroger parking lot on Ginger Road.
Oh, okay.
And then
8 to noon or 9 to
9 to noon. Mark attended a community event with Councilman Lourdes, and I attended a community event with Councilman Shannon Hardin. I didn't attend with them, but we were there at their events. And both of them were very informative and provided a lot of information and insight about things going on in the city. I think Mark may share some things about the one that he went to because it seemed to be more interactive and engaging. Do you have anything you want to input on that?
For the sake of time, long story short, Lourdes put on a really good event where she brought folks who brought data, numbers, and information. It's probably been one of the best informative meetings I have ever experienced with a council member. So I've actually, I think the one that really pertained to us is infrastructure and things of that sort. So I can't remember his name. He's the PIO.
Charles Newman.
That guy, yes. I've asked him. He's going to compile up one. If he can't do it for a commission hearing, he's going to do it for a council district. So it might be a little skewed because it includes Far East, but he's going to go through and give us a lot of that information, which I think is beneficial, from roads that are taken care of, sidewalks, what they're looking at, and timelines for major projects, what money amounts, things of those sorts. You know, the information that we always really want, but we never really get.
Yes.
So I don't know what that is. I should probably remind myself to reach out, but hopefully something like that comes to our side. I may or may not have made a comment to Catherine Catherine, right? Catherine Cole, on how I felt that we've never experienced something like that, nor did I think we were ever going to get the benefit of experiencing something like that in our district, particularly. So hopefully that comment set a fire somewhere, to where, our district representative can come and actually provide these things like that for us. So that's my feedback.
And then with Shannon, there was a lot of questions around school funding, no taxes on real estate, the LGBTQ funding of one of the shared community houses, and how that was affecting them. So I did do it on Facebook Live. I think it's still out there, maybe for a few more days. If you didn't get to see it, you can watch it on there, on our Facebook page. And so I thought that was really interesting to give people opportunity to ask questions in the community. And so I don't have anything else other than looks like we have Jacob Carmichael, who is wanting to come on as a new commission appointment. Everyone should have gotten his application. Did everyone see his application?
I read it.
Okay. Jacob, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be a commissioner?
Sure thing. So I moved to Columbus last year. I am from Ohio, but I joined the military and I've been around, and I've seen a lot of different things. And I felt really strongly after after 2024, I wanted to be a part of making things better. And the first thing I could think of is I'm just one guy and I can't really do anything. Like I don't have any power to do anything, but I mean, other than voting as a citizen. So, how can I make my vote count like the most, right? And not just voting in an election, but just making my voice heard, and the people that live around me, the people that, I don't necessarily have any ideas to represent a whole bunch of people, but I just feel like I could get the most, bang for my buck, being a part of the local commission. I got a little taste of it in the zoning committee, and I like how that goes. I like being a part of it, making my voice heard, and hearing other people when they come and they voice their thoughts. And I just like being a part of the process. So.
Well, thank you. There is a lot to be done. There's a lot of things that we need, and we do appreciate you wanting to come in and work with us and be a part of our commission. We have over 43,000, 45,000 people in our commission area, and as you know, it's vastly growing. We have a high school and a elementary school public in our commission, along with several other charter schools and some private schools in our commission area. And we cross over boundaries. We cross over into Groveport, Canal, and Pickerington. So we need as much assistance and help as possible, and it takes a community. It takes a village, and so having you is going to hopefully be a plus. And so I would like to move to accept Jacob's application as a commissioner for the Greater Southeast Area Commission to be filling one of the open seats. Is that a full? Will it be a full for 3 years or partial?
Well, if there's an open seat, did you want to consider this through your August election?
I don't want to wait till election time. I want to appoint. So if I appoint, does he have to run in August, or can he? Will it continue?
I would make it to fill the longest open term we have.
Yeah. So whatever, we'll look that up, but we're going to make it to fill the longest open term that we have available.
I'll second.
Okay, can we take a vote?
Gender.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. What area do you live in?
I live right across from D Store in the Gender Park condominiums.
Gender Park condos.
The Kempner stuff.
Is there any conflict for us as far as our bylaws as to us all living in that little area, that section?
No, you're in different housing
We're
units.
in different
I'm not in a. I'm not even in a neighborhood.
You have districts.
No. Okay, so maybe take a vote, please.
Yes. Harper,
Yes.
me, yes. Victoria Murray,
Yes.
Sheila Blanchard,
Yes.
Diana Bunting.
Yeah.
This one moved.
And Vanjie.
And
Yes.
Vanjie, Chair Vanjie. I always want to call you first, because I think in terms of order of hierarchy.
Robert's rules has chair last because of a tie-breaking vote.
I
This
know.
other one.
I know.
Okay, and we will not hear the appointment of Abdul. He's not here tonight. Do we have a last name?
Is that
name's-
an at-large or is that
He's for an
official
at-large
appointment?
position for religious. It may or may not be my fault because I may or may not have explicitly said tonight.
Oh, okay.
However, I do know that he wants to serve.
It was the email. That's why I pulled it.
This is at-large, right? Or
Yes, and we've all already met him.
At large
Yeah.
for religious.
Yes.
I don't have a problem. We got enough work to go around. Anybody
So
wants to
Well,
take it and look good
I
reason
would
hard.
like to wait until he's here, and I would like to establish first of all that if we're going to have people
he's
who
not
want
here.
to be here to be on the commission,
They'd be
that
at-
they need to be at the meeting. So that is one thing, whether they were going to be on the agenda or not. I haven't seen him at our meetings since we first talked to him about it. So I would like to know that he has a real interest in actually serving on our commission if we're going to add him to it.
So Mr. Abdul is out.
he was here last month. I think. Or was it his own? I saw him.
We don't know.
Yeah.
it was at the meeting.
But we have a business seat open, don't we?
We have a business, a church, and an education at large.
I just wanted to
We have
make
a
sure that
business,
was said out loud.
a church, and an at large.
Business.
All right. That's all I have. Anything else? I move to adjourn at 8:30 p.m.
So moved.
So moved.